Politics, Kansas and Missouri, the 121st edition of this rivalry. However, it's the first time they've played one another since Mizzou left for the SEC. That was all the way back in 2011. So obviously, basically everything's changed in college football since these two teams faced off. Let's welcome in Shehan Jeyarajah, Chip Patterson, back in action with us. Get us ready, Chip, for this game, for this rivalry. I don't think it has a trophy that I can find. Do you know of one? I hate rivalries that don't have trophies, though. That's stupid.
The key word here is hate. I mean, there are respectful rivalries. There are rivalries that are very competitive because of, the shared excellence between them. This is not clean, old-fashioned hate. No, that would be over there in the state of Georgia. This is just hate. These two fan bases absolutely go at each other's throats. Now, naturally, they've had tons of epic battles as Big 12 foes back in the day. A lot of that coming in basketball whenever Missouri has been trying to punch up. But then also remember Chase Daniel, Todd Reesing. I mean, the amount of football times that we've got both of them running hot, it's always been incredibly competitive. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people are excited about, because these two big state schools with a lot of alumni who share a lot of space in some of the bigger urban areas in that part of the country, there is just a lot of disgust and distaste for each other. How much of that bleeds over onto the football field, I don't know, but I'm sensing it'll be palpable in the stands.
And by the way, this is a fight for the city of Kansas City in so many ways, because, you obviously have the division and there's a lot of great football players that come from both of those places. But it's like you mentioned, I was talking to one Kansas source a little while back who hasn't been there since 2011. And he was like, I didn't realize that our fans hate Missouri so much more than they hate Kansas State. Obviously, there's a big rivalry between the in-state schools as well, but this is different. And I mean, look, you said off the top, we're not talking politics. If you want to go back, there's a long history of Kansans and Missourians obviously not necessarily being on the same page with each other, but this is going to be a great football game. I'm so glad that we have this one back. It was one of the many casualties of course, realignment even back 15 years ago, and I'm really glad that we're starting to get some of these games back, especially this one, which, by the way, you have two programs that really want to make a statement on national television. Kansas's
head coach said he's even hearing about it in church. That's how much people are fired up for this game. Someone went up to him in church and said, kick their blank. They didn't even use the word bottom in church. That's how much hate is going on between these two teams. Chip Patterson. So let's talk about Kansas looking for their third 3-0 start in the past 3 years. What are the chances they can do it? 4 seasons, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas has got a good shot here. And the thing that's so interesting when looking at Kansas's season in terms of being able to stack all these wins was, the inability of Kansas to be able to convert on good opportunities early last season that almost made the season look like a lost cause. I mean, it wasn't until they became the Grim Reaper of Big 12 title hopes, taking out ranked team after ranked team, only to not even make the postseason. This whole 2025 for Lance Leipold was about bouncing back and showing that the standard that he is setting in Lawrence is a lot more of what we saw 2 years ago and not the 5-7 performance from a year ago. So if you can throw all of these wins into your pocket, that's only going to give you a better chance at a better win total at the end of the year.
All right, Shehan, so when it comes to the Jayhawks, what player are you watching?
Yeah, there's a lot to mention. I mean, obviously, Jalen Daniels at quarterback, I think, has looked really good so far this year. But I'm going to actually go to the defensive side of the ball. DJ Withers at defensive tackle was a breakout player over their first 2 games. When you have a defensive tackle that's able to really get after the quarterback, it's a game changer. He's one of those players who's been in this program for multiple years, continued to develop, continued to get better, and I think he's finally found his moment. And by the way, a reason that I also pick Withers as my player is because I saw Missouri have some issues on the offensive line last week, even against an FCS opponent. And so I think that Kansas has a really good opportunity to come out and cause some havoc, because we know that their offense is going to show up in this game.
Yeah, like Shehan said, Jalen Daniels, your quarterback, is going to be the big star and a huge X factor. But I think I want to focus on someone he's throwing the ball to. That is wide receiver Emmanuel Henderson. He is a former Alabama Crimson Tide wide receiver. Never really made a huge impact while he was in Tuscaloosa, but he was a blue chip prospect for a reason. And it seems like he's really starting to find his own and finally have his breakout 4th year of college football here with Kansas. And so to see him starting to capitalize capitalize on all those tools that gave him that high projection in this offense, it could make him a big factor against an SEC opponent.
Do want to mention, well, never mind. Let's move on here. Let's go to the Mizzou side. Shehan, who are you watching for them?
Yeah, I don't just want to get with the quarterback, but you kind of have to get with the quarterback here. Beau Pribula comes over from Penn State. People may remember that he left that team before the college football playoffs to get on campus quicker. And in his first game, he showed some of those tools that made Missouri so excited about him. He's a big-time runner. He's a big-time thrower. He's somebody who they really feel like can be a dynamic player in this offense. And even over the past 2 years, right? Like, I mean, with Brady Cook, you didn't necessarily have somebody who's punishing teams with his legs the way that Beau Pribula will be able to. I think that for Missouri, especially after losing some of their top receivers to the NFL, they're going to need him to be a big factor both in the pass and the run game to have a chance to be really special, especially, by the way, like I mentioned, with an offensive line that is still working through some of its pieces.
Yeah, I have your similar questions about the offensive line, but very few questions about the defensive line, where Damon Wilson just seems to be settling right in as one of the most disruptive players, maybe in the SEC. Obviously, a transfer over from Georgia, very talented player, NFL projection down the line, but already a couple of sacks in the limited action that he saw against Central Arkansas. He is going to be a player who is in charge of not just getting after Jalen Daniels and forcing him out of the pocket, but bringing him to the ground so that Jalen Daniels can't do any of that third and long magic that he has been known to do. So we got to focus on one of the top pro prospects in this game, and that's going to be Missouri defensive lineman Damon Wilson.
Gents, we appreciate it. Since this rivalry, I don't think, has a trophy, I would like to suggest like a trophy of like barbecue or something like that. I think it would be phenomenal. Chip and Shehan, we'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the games we've got coming up this weekend. College football, we are breaking it down all season long, going in depth on so many of these games. Make sure to scan that QR code and subscribe.